site with Danjo, and perhaps you want users to be able to view their username, their user pic, that's their profile picture, you can use Python to open it. Though you still add some libraries and things like that. So for example, at some point the user may want to change their profile picture or things like that, and at the same time you can also use it for things like maybe storing logs, contacts and things like that. So user may want to edit things like that. So now this is the function you use to open files. That's to open or load a file. You use this open function. Now they said it takes two parameters, that's the file name and the mode. Now this file name is the name of the file you want to open. You see, this mode is the way you want it to open the file or handle the file. Now this mode, it has different mode. There's R. You see this R, it just opens the file because it wants to read it. Perhaps now you can create a Python program that will read the first line of a text file and output it, print it for you. So you use read for that one. That one does not require any editing. So now for append, that's to add to the file. It will add to the last part of the file, meaning you may want to store contact, so it will write the contact to that text file. That's where you use append. Now write too, it enables you to write something to the file. Now they said this append, it creates the file if the file does not exist. Sure you understand? Now for read, if the file does not exist, because you are telling it it's just like I tell you, Chibike, go and bring the pencil or go and bring this, and if you don't see it there, you come back telling me you don't see it. But if I tell you put this there on the table beside the door, if the table is not beside the door, you move it beside the door, then put it on the table. So that's how this thing works. So now if you want to specify how the file should be handled, perhaps maybe handled by a text or handled by binary, which is for images. Now, so this is the syntax you use to open a file for reading. For example, now they said f equals open demo file.txt. I'm coming. Let me see if I have any text file in that folder. I'll just create one first. So let me just create a new text file. I'll go to my desktop. Now, so I'll create a file here, a text file. I'll save it as, let me see, text.txt. Can you see? Now let me go back to my Python. So I'll change this here, test. Can you see? So now if I run this, do you know why it's not bringing anything out? Because there's nothing in my text file. Now let me go back to my text file. Let me see, hello world. Can you see? Now let's go back again. Come in. Oh, it's taking long to load. Okay, so wait. So now I'm coming. So they said R is to read. So now, and W is to write. So what they did here, they said RT, that's R for read, T for text. I'm coming, let me take this back. So they said R for read, T for text. That's the mode at which is opening. So now I can say oh, I'm sorry, you see it brought out error because I use read. For read it won't create the file, but for append and write it will create the file if the file does not exist. So it's bringing error because the file name is not actually correct. So I'll change this back to test. Can you see? So this is the information of the text file. Now, so they said because R for read and T and for text are the default values, that means you don't need to specify them. Meaning, if you write f open test.text and you don't put this, automatically this is the default mode it will open it as. So now they said assuming we have this same file located in our folder, same folder as the Python this thing. So we've done that already. We've created the text file in our Python folder. So now if we were to output what was in that text file, this is what we'll just do. We'll come here and we'll say f.read like this. Can you see? You are telling it to output exactly what is in the file. In my file here I saved hello world there. Can you see? So now if I run this, it should output that exact thing that is in the file. Can you see? Hello world. Meaning no matter what I type in that text file, it will output it here. So now we all know how this works. If your text file is located in a different location, it can be the link to a text file on a web server or link to text file on another part. So for now I won't do that, but if it's a link to a text file on a website, you just put the link to the file there and it will open it. So now if they said you can also read specific parts of a text file. For example, now they said f.read 5. So they said it will read and return the first 5 characters of the file. So now if I do the same thing here, so as I was saying, if I put 5 there now and I run it, can you see hello? That's the first 5 character there. So now come in. They said you can also read line. This read line method, for example, now there's this Facebook brute force tool that I did a long time ago. Now the goal of that tool is to pick passwords from a text file one after the other. That's line by line. Then it will try it with the provided email and see till it gets the right password. Now in that kind of situation, you want to be picking it line by line. So meaning it will only read the line like this. Can you see? To read one line like this. So now if I do this exact thing, you figure out it will only print hello world. But before that, let me go and create more lines in my text file. So I can just come here and type any random character and things like that. Let me save it. Then now let me come back here. So can you see? It's printed only hello world, leaving out the rest of the text file. But if we used, wait, I'm coming. You know, the other time when we used the read, that's just the f.read, it outputs the whole text file. But for this one, it will bring out only one line. Now they said if you want to output 2 lines, you write that read line like that. And if you want to loop, you know, you doing this will take a long time. For example, me that I created the brute force tool, it can try as much as 100 passwords before it gets the right one. So what you just do, you use loop. Can you see? You use loop. You know, they've declared here already read, R for read, that's the mode. So they said for x in f, print x, so automatically it will keep picking line by line and to keep outputting it till the end. So let me do that for you so you see it. Can you see? You see it's brought out all the lines, including the blank spaces that were in the text file. Let me show you the blank spaces. I've closed it. Okay, let me open the text file again so you see it, including the blank spaces. Can you see? So now let's continue what we're doing. So now they said it's a good practice to always close a file when you are done with it. So now, for example, let's say you created something like okay, let me just say a JSON file. So now let's say in that JSON file you stored username, that's his profile and things like that. So now imagine the user changed his name. You know, Python will automatically change the value in the text file or the JSON file. So if you don't close the file, meaning you don't tell Python to terminate the decision with the file, just close the file, you can make unintentional edits to the file. Perhaps maybe the user was doing one thing or the other and perhaps he cleared a particular line. You know that automatically has cleared that information from the file. So every time you finish a file like this, you always close it. So that's the function of this. So now like I said before, append, it will add to the end of the file. And for write, you know, I've written a lot of things in my text file here. If I use write for it, write will clear everything and put the new thing I told it to add there. But for append, it will just add to it. It won't clear the existing thing there. So now, okay, let me just show you. Let me give you. Not writable. I'm coming up. I think that's error because it's opened. Just do this first. Now let me try running it again. It brings the same error, I guess. Okay, I think this is where I made mistake. You know, I told you R is to read, A is to append, and W is to write. So this is supposed to be R. I mean, it's supposed to be A. So once I change it to A,
knock your head to dance.
So now if I run this, it should work fine. Can you see? It has done that already. So if I open my text file back, you figure out it added that line to it. Can you see? Now the file has more content. Same thing with write. If I use this write, it will remove everything in the text file and replace it with this. So let me do that so you can see that soon. Can you see? If I go back to my text file, let me close it and open it again. Can you see? That's the only thing in the text file. Come in. So now, like I told you before, it will remove everything in the file and replace it with a new one. So this will create a new file. We all know how to do the method. You use the methods now. You just put it here after the file name. So use W for write, A for append. You know that already. So let's go to the next one. Now, to delete file, you import the OS module. That's operating system. You import the OS module. Now, if you say os.remove, automatically it will remove the file. That means it will delete it. So now, this is to check if the file exists. If the file exists, it will remove it. If it doesn't exist, it will tell you the file does not exist. So to delete an entire folder, perhaps the file is stored in a folder, you use os rmdir. This rmdir means remove directory. So it will remove my directory with this, and they told us you can only remove empty folders with that. So now let's go to the next one. Okay, that will be all for reading and writing files in Python.